Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on Drexel University's LeBow College of Business. Here we'll talk about their program. Currently, we're focusing on their MBA program, and we'll talk about every aspect of how your life will be at the university, what subjects and how your curriculum will be, and how your job placements and other prospects would look like. Today we have two speakers. One is Professor A. Murugan, and we have Jemy Noor. Professor Murugan is the Academic Director of Center for Applied AI and Business Analytics and Office for Experiential Learning. He's also the professor of Department of Decision Sciences and MIS. Noor is the Academic Advising Associate Director of Graduate Student Services. So over to you, Team LeBow.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. As you can see, Dr. Murugan and I are here in Philadelphia presenting to you, and you can see it's daytime here, but still good evening to everyone joining today. We are excited to share with you a couple of exciting things here at LeBow, so we'll get right into it. I'll share my screen with my presentation. So let's focus on the 12-month MBA at Drexel LeBow, where we focus on real-world experiences that deliver real-world solutions. These slides are brief, I promise you. It's going to be very brief so that we can have enough time for questions and answers and really engage with everyone here. So here's an overview of what we'll cover today, including the team. What does Drexel LeBow stand for? What does the MBA curriculum, the different concentrations that we have? We'll talk about our Career Readiness Center, our experiential learning, what makes Drexel unique, our Center for Applied AI and Business Analytics, student success stories of Indian students just like you, the perks that you have as a Drexel Dragon, the city of Philadelphia, and then the admissions requirements. So you just had a brief intro about us, but it's just diving a little bit deeper. Dr. Anandarajan is the Senior Associate Dean of Academic Programs and Faculty Affairs. So he works with all of our students in designing curriculum and really enhancing the things that we teach here at LeBow and ensuring that our students are successful when they go out into the career world. We also have Stacy Klein, who is the Assistant Dean and the Assistant Dean for Teaching and Learning. She is a clinical professor with the Department of Accounting, but she also works with the faculty to help build curriculum and to ensure student success. I work with our Graduate Student Services department. I primarily focus on academic advising and partnerships. And you may also be familiar with, as you are applying and getting admitted and working with your applications, Nina Mielkars, who is also an Associate Director with Graduate Student Services, and she focuses on enrollment management and application services. So at Drexel LeBow, there's a lot of words here, right? So I won't go into all of that, but essentially you can see all of our notable rankings and accreditations. You can find this on our website as well. We are a R1 doctoral university. That basically means we have very high research activity. You would think business, who does research in business? Everyone. This essentially means that our professors and faculty are ensuring that the content in their classes are real world applicable immediately. So they're looking at real world problems in the classroom so that while you are going through your classes throughout the curriculum, you're able to look at the world, see what's happening, and find a solution in the classroom so that you can go out and apply it. You're also looking at the fact that we are in the top 25 STEM colleges. We were named by Forbes magazine. We are the best business school consistently by Princeton Review. And then we are ranked 9 among the 10 big city colleges in Northeast. You know that United States is huge. Philadelphia is a major city in the US, and that landing in this top ranking is incredible for us. We are also a Tier 1 global MBA school, and 92% of our master's and MBA students are employed within 12 months of graduation. So now in terms of the LeBow MBA, right? So we focus on the curriculum. Our curriculum ensures that you're covering major business disciplines, including accounting, finance, analytics, economics, supply chain, strategic management, organizational behavior, and marketing. Business is not just a single factor. You're not focusing on just finance, not focusing on just accounting. There's a good mix of disciplines because that all applies to how you can be a good business leader. We also have market-driven course topics designed to provide an increased focus on cutting-edge topics and relevant business trends. This essentially means that our faculty and our staff and our alumni work with industry experts to meet the changing needs in business and to ensure that our students are prepared in the classroom. We also have STEM designated concentrations within the MBA that can allow you to be qualified for that 1 year of OPT after graduation, but then 2 additional years to extend if you meet all the requirements for the STEM degree. So it's a very unique and interesting model. It's going to be so amazing to have you guys here, and really excited for you to join us soon. So a little brief overview of the 12 months at Drexel. We have the accelerated MBA, and here are the core classes that you'll be taking, not including the classes that you're taking at IIM, right? So you'll be taking 4 classes at up to 12 4 classes at IIM that you transfer to Drexel for 12 credits, and those grades must be B or higher. But here you can see just the breakdown of the different classes. Like you have the Essentials of Financial Reporting. It's an accounting course. Analyzing Legal Options and Decision-Making, Legal Studies course. Managerial Economics class. Strategic Career Management and Professional Development, really preparing you for working in the American business world. Corporate Financial Management, Finance, Operations and Supply Chain Management, Supply Chain, Leading in Dynamic Environments, Organizational Behavior. And then you have your concentration classes and a potential internship or a business consulting class where you work with a company to deliver a solution, right? So this is the overall breakdown. You can screenshot this, but you'll also have access to this presentation through the wonderful Futurense. Here are our concentration options. I can speak to this, of course, as an academic advisor, but I'd like to hand the baton over to Dr. Anandarajan to talk a little bit about the benefits of these different concentrations and what selecting them could mean for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Murugan Anandarajan. I'm the Senior Associate Dean at the LeBow College of Business and a Professor of Information Systems. So welcome, everybody. So thank you, Noor. So concentrations are a really important part of your MBA program. Noor showed you the core courses that you would take. And the core courses basically help to create the foundation of your knowledge. But it's always very useful to have a specialty. That's what we call a concentration. Some schools call it a major. And typically what you have on this screen right here is the STEM designated ones. And you know what STEM stands for. But basically what this means is it has implications on your OPT. Noor will talk more about that. But it has more of a technology, mathematics, more of a scientific approach, right? So we basically have 5 different areas where we offer concentrations that hit upon the STEM area. And they're accounting analytics, applied artificial intelligence, business analytics, finance, marketing, and technology and analytics. Now, I won't go into each one of these, but just give you the common themes that run across it. Number 1, this is needed by the marketplace. If it's needed by the marketplace, that means there's demand for it. And if there's demand for it, it means that it is on the rigorous side, meaning there is more math, there is more stat, there is more technology, because that's what they're looking for, right? So don't think it's a magical formula where you come and do an MBA and you get this 3-year extension for your OPT and there's a job sitting and waiting for you. That's not necessarily the case. But the most skills that you show in these areas that we are listed here, data-driven decision-making using AI, for example. In marketing, buyer behavior theories, for example, using numbers, quantitative methods. Those are the types of things companies are looking for. So we have chosen our concentration exceedingly carefully, right? To make sure that it aligns with the market and aligns with the careers. And we make the adjustments to our curriculum accordingly. So I would encourage you to look at these 5 different choices and make your selection carefully. There's a school of thought among students that things like business analytics is so much wider than marketing technology. And that's not necessarily true. Marketing technology, for example, and analytics is very specific, right? But it's deep. There's a lot of opportunities in these areas. So companies sometimes don't want the too general. They want something a little bit more specialized, right? So you need to think about it very carefully, have discussions before you make your choices and concentrations.
And the best thing to do, Dr. A, when I'm talking to students is essentially don't just go for the title, go for the classes. Look at the classes and the content that you will learn the most from that will really benefit you, and then see if there's a concentration that applies to it. So work backwards if you can as well.
Right. And another thing that I would advise you to do is experience always counts, right? Companies, people prefer people who have experience, right? So if that's the case, ask yourself, have you worked in the marketing field before? Maybe this would elevate you based on your foundational knowledge and experience, or finance, whatever the case may be. But don't think, right, that simply getting 3 letters behind your name makes a difference. It does help, but you need to bring that special secret sauce into the formula. And that is by being engaged, making sure that you choose your courses carefully, making sure you do well in classes and are engaged.
Yes. And I just listed the most popular classes within these concentrations on this slide here. You can always find more information on our website. And you will have to select your courses according to your plan of study and your curriculum. Keep in mind that you are in a 12-month program. So there are specific classes that are offered throughout the year that will match your overall curriculum to ensure that you can graduate on time. So there will be some nuances that I will be working with you as your academic advisor to ensure that you're selecting the right classes for your concentration that you select and that you're graduating on time. So we also, as you saw on our main overall curriculum page, you saw that we had a career course and we had experiential learning built in. Dr. A, can you speak to a little bit more about these two?
Yeah, so these are 2 important pillars within the College of Business. And let me talk about the first one. We basically have a Center for Career Readiness. In the Center for Career Readiness, there are different pillars. The pillars include a course that our MBA students need to take. And the career course, which is a 3-credit course, basically looks at 2 elements. Number 1 is, why is it important? Why are certain things important? And number 2 is, how do you achieve it? Example, your resume, right? Why is it important? And how do you produce this resume that would open the door for you, right? That's the first thing, to get somebody to look at your resume, right? It's much harder than you think it is. And trust me when I tell you this, the resume that you apply to the university with isn't even close to what the resume that companies are looking for. In a way, it's easy, but it's also difficult because people don't like to change, right? So one of the things that you learn in class is the why it's important. And hopefully that resonates on the importance of why you should be changing your resume to align with the market. Another element, for example, is a cover letter, etc. So those are the courses that we talk about in terms of career readiness. Another thing we talk about in career readiness is, and this is something that you would experience as you go along in the program, is we collect a lot of data, external and internal data, that allow us to understand what's happening in the marketplace, which helps to influence our curriculum. So one of the things that I'm proud about at LeBow is basically we've got a finger on the pulse, right? This is not an old curriculum that we keep repeating. It's tweaked according to what's needed out there, right? But it's not a matter of you being static and sitting in the classroom and expecting a faculty to give you everything. You need to come in with ideas too, right? So when you, for example, when you walk into a finance classroom and the faculty is teaching, you should have done your own research. You should be reading. You should understand what's happening out there and ask questions. It's through discussion that we meet what the market wants, right? So that's where the data comes into play. We also have outreach where we basically, companies come in, there are training sessions, networking sessions, etc., that you get involved in. And then overall, from an experiential element, which was the other slide that Noor was showing, is most of our courses has an experiential element, meaning that you could be working with real world data, simulated data, consulting projects, consulting competitive business case competitions, etc., to give you that real world element, right? That these 2 are linked because the real world element helps your career. right? So the two are linked and it's important pillars.
Thank you, Dr. A. So a little bit, as you can see on the screen, we have a career readiness center that help prepare our students, and you'll be working with a career coach. You have an dedicated academic advisor, and you have a dedicated career coach who will be working with you. And Dr. A also talked about experiential learning classes. We also have an Office of Experiential Learning that organizes these courses and works with companies and consults with companies to bring them into the classroom to work with you. We also have, I covered here just two bullets here, Marketing Crisis Challenge and the Disruptor Games. They're one-day case competitions. So this is outside of your academic requirements, but we highly encourage all students to participate in these because it's full day interactive competitions where you're getting FaceTime with C-suite executives and company individuals who are coming in to see how students can work on a problem that the company has brought into the classroom. Right. And you're basically working in groups to deliver a solution, and you present at the end, and it's an incredible experience. All of our students love it. So once you are here, we highly encourage you to take participate in these. You don't have to be a marketing expert to participate in Marketing Crisis. You don't have to be an analytics expert to participate in Disruptor Games. Our MBA students love these case competitions, and this will only enhance your overall degree experience. We also have a Center for Applied AI and Business Analytics. Dr. A alluded to this. We are a forward-thinking university, a forward-thinking college. We are consistently looking at what is going on in the marketplace, what are industries looking for, what are the new technologies being introduced, and how can we ensure that our students are equipped with this knowledge before they enter into the career world. Dr. A, do you want to expand a little bit more on the center?
Yeah, so if you notice, the word applied is in front of it, and then we connect it with analytics. So this is something we've been doing for a very long time. We have had the Center for Business Analytics at least 8 to 10 years, or 8 years, I think. We introduced the word applied AI. And the reason is that now it's become more prominent that people are more familiar, and specifically with Gen AI. Typically, what we do in the center is applied research. So again, I said we're data-driven. We do an annual survey with companies, leading companies across the world to understand what they're looking for in terms of data and AI. So we got our finger on the pulse again. That influences analytics and applied AI courses, number one. Number two is we organize competitions, datathons, for example, where a company comes in, provides a project, and the students have 6 hours to come up with some type of solution, right? So there are so many other different types of things that we do with the center, but basically the bottom line is there's one common theme. What's happening out there? How is it related to our curriculum? How is it related to you? So think of it as a triangle, right? Curriculum, external partnerships, external world, and then you, right? But here's the thing: all these things are great the way it works, but if you come to Drexel or LeBow, you need to be involved. Case in point, when we have a datathon, for example, we had it 3 weeks ago, right? With a major company. 60 register, 30 show up, right? So there are about 90 in the program overall, 60 register, 30 show up. Question is why? So you need to have the mindset that if you are coming here, you better be involved. You better be engaged. Getting involved in everything, making sure people know you. It's not just going for classes. And I can't stress that enough, because the secret of your success is what I just said. So,
Dr. A, it's like you're teaching a class at this moment. You're not presenting your class.
So the prize for the winning team 3 weeks ago last Friday was a visit to the company. So we had a bus, we went over, the 6 winners went over, and that company, which is a leading company, basically had all their top people there in analytics and data and AI, talking to the students, answering any question, and talking about and they gave their LinkedIn. They said, please contact them. Think about networking. So, and even there, I told we have a finger on the pulse as these leading executives were talking, and I was taking notes, and then I was emailing our faculty and saying, do we have a course in this? Do we talk about this concept? Because they're talking about it. So what So it's almost real time. We're trying to capture what's happening out there to make sure we have it in here. So, and I hope that makes a lot of sense and you understand the value of what I'm saying.
The whole point of pursuing the MBA, right, for the students is they're going across an ocean they're putting so much into this. And if they're not reaping the benefits of not only getting involved in classes, but also building their network and ensuring that they're participating in these activities, then what is the point of that investment? So very good point, Dr. A. I wanted to cover two specific students of success stories. I won't read everything on this slide, but Javkirat Bindra he actually got dual degrees, an MBA and an MS in finance. And one of my favorite quotes from his time here was that one of the classes that defined my MBA and master's was in the financial and supply chain management, taught by an adjunct professor who worked for Johnson & Johnson. I got a behind the scenes look at the company and really understood how it works. And guess what? Bindra graduated and landed a full-time job at Johnson & Johnson. Right. So that was an incredible experience for him. So as you can see, he networked in the classroom, brought it out of the classroom, and continued to be an excellent and incredible student. We also have Anusha Janardana, who graduated in 2018 with her MBA. And my favorite quote from her is, I've always thought that if you're going to go into it, you have to know what you're going to do. There has to be an impact, whether it's work or home or some other aspect of your life, make something better. She essentially dived into the MBA after working for a few years because she realized that she wanted to be a leader in her field. Right? She wanted to be a leader in her field. So once she graduated, worked for a few years, she came back for the MBA because she knew that the Drexel MBA could give her exactly what she was seeking to prepare her to be a manager and potentially be a leader and a C-suite executive at her current company. And if you want to read more student success stories like these, you can scan this QR code right here and read in your own time a couple of other stories and really dive into the different programs as well, and really focus on the MBA success stories to see how the MBA made a difference in many students' lives. Now, let's talk about Drexel, right? So coming to Drexel, hopefully you'll become a Drexel Dragon. We have one of the best mascots in the country in America. Different colleges have different mascots. People have owls for Temple. We have ravens for other schools, but dragons are the best creatures. Amazing, right? So here are a couple of perks that you get as a Drexel Dragon. So you would have the access to our Graduate Student Research Center, which essentially is a one-stop hub for everything that is important for our Drexel LeBow graduate students, including accesses to your plans of study, accesses to different forms, and also content and modules that ensure that you are prepared for your classes. We have a LeBow Tutoring and Learning Center. It is never an embarrassment to ask for help. Our students sometimes struggle, especially if they've been working for a few years and they're coming back to school. The quantitative courses or some of the managerial courses might provide them a little bit of hiccup. So they essentially go to the Tutoring and Learning Center to review their coursework to ensure their success. We have the Drexel One portal where you have access to all of the systems across the university. We have our Haggerty Library, which essentially is a physical and online resource center where you can use the content and do your research to prepare for your projects, your presentations, and your final papers. We have our International Students and Scholar Services, ISSS or ISSS. They go by many names, but essentially a dedicated service that works with all of our international students to work with them to help students understand their F1 visas, CPT requirements, OPT requirements, and etc. We have our Office of Graduate Studies, which essentially creates all of our academic policies for graduate students, but also helps and assists our students in terms of getting them towards graduation. And then we have a website dedicated to Dragon links and events and organizations. Dr. A alluded to this earlier. You have to get outside of the classroom. So you have to succeed in the classroom, but you also have to be involved outside the classroom, which essentially means engaging with the Drexel network. We have over 250 student organizations and everything that you could imagine. We have an International Student Graduate Association, and we have an Indian Student Association. We have dance teams, we have music teams, we have finance groups, we have economics groups, we have accounting groups. Make sure you're networking because these individuals will be your network once you graduate as well. And with those networks, they might have connections outside of the university and different departments and different industries as well. A little bit about Philadelphia. we're almost nearing the end of our presentation, so it won't take too long. I love the city of Philadelphia. It's one of the best cities in the country. I'm not saying that just because I live here. I've traveled around. We are one of the most diverse cities in America and one of the first cities to be founded in America. We are 1.6 million in population and fourth in racial diversity. That is really huge. People talk about New York all the time. You're seeing New York in your movies. New York is crazy. New York is busy. Philadelphia is the perfect mix of urban and suburban. It's not too loud and not too quiet. You have everything in walking distance. And the fact that we are also the most diverse in food, meaning if you ever miss home, you'll always find a restaurant to give you some of that food that you're missing from home. And then we also have a very rich historical and cultural heritage. So if you're definitely interested in history, our museums and our different parks are incredible places to visit with your friends while you are here. Dr. A, what is your favorite thing about Philadelphia?
Cheesesteak.
Perfect.
The cheesesteak is a sandwich that you get with different things in it. But anyway, I'll let you guys taste it.
Food is incredible. So I do know we also have vegan and vegetarian Indian students. It's okay, don't worry. We have a mushroom cheesesteak, a vegan option without the cheese, but they put something else in there. But essentially it tastes just as good as the beef cheesesteak or the chicken cheesesteak. People try to have the cheesesteaks in other cities and across the world. I see it on menus and international menus. But honestly, the Philly cheesesteak is something that you can only have in Philadelphia and get that authentic taste. So good point, Dr. A. Philadelphia is also an incredible location. It's located right as a central hub, right? So you can do a lot of networking right from the city. We are only an hour and a half train ride away from New York, a 2-hour drive from New York. We are also only an hour or 2 hours away from Washington, D.C. Some of these major cities in the country where a lot of our top companies have their headquarters based in or their satellite campuses. So essentially means that being in Philadelphia, you have access to these major cities. You can make a weekend trip a day trip out of New York, a weekend trip out of Washington, D.C. Our central station also takes you all over the country. So it's a very convenient location. And then it's also the affordable living. Living in a city can be expensive, but living in Philadelphia allows you to have that perfect blend of that urban and suburban areas, which allows us to keep our rent costs a little bit lower than other major cities across the country. So that ends our major presentation. Here's a couple of just information on our admission requirements. You need the application fee, your transcript, your letter of recommendation, your resume, a personal statement. This is our favorite part of your application because we get to learn so much about who you are. Don't tell us what you did in your resume on your personal statement. Don't tell us the grades that you got in school on your personal statement. We see your transcripts, we see your resume. In your personal statement, what we're looking to hear from you is, why the MBA? Why is this degree going to change your life? What are you going to do to make a change in the world with this degree? Tell us this because that helps us understand who you are as a person and what kind of value you can bring to us here at LeBow and what kind of network you can be for the other students here. Because when we do this for every student, we keep in mind, how are you a network for others and how others can be a network for you. We also have a mandatory interview process. So you'll be meeting Nina for those interviews if you pass the initial admission round, and those interviews will also determine your admission into the degree. You can see that our applications are now open for this upcoming September, and the first day of classes is September 22nd. I'm going to keep the screen up for just a minute. Take a screenshot. I'll drop my email into the chat as well, but we can take any questions from our audience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murugan and Noor. That was a very comprehensive presentation. Even you answered a few questions that I kept in my repository. But again, like you said, the stage is up for questions for all the attendees. If you have any question, I see a hand, a candidate raising their hands. You can put your question on the Q&A section, or I can allow you to talk. You can choose. I'm not getting the correct name. It's just two initials.
They type their answer into the question and answer thing.
Question, yes.
Yeah. So they're asking, what was the highest salary offered by employers in 2024? So this is a varied answer. You could Google this and see in terms of all of America, but at the university, different students in different programs have different ranges depending on the type of the job that they're getting. With our MBA, you can get a very wide variety of jobs. our ranges differ, Dr. A, right?
So
They differ.
I would basically say now start thinking like a potential MBA student. You tell me what variables would come into play here. Now, critical thinking is one thing we emphasize in our program. So example, and I'm not going to give you an answer because as Noor said, it depends. Depends on your experience. Depends on how well you do in school. Depends on how well your network. Depends on how well you do in your interviews and cover letters and all that type of stuff. Depends on the overall job market. Depends on the political situation. Depends on the area of the country. So it really varies. There's so many different variables. The question you should be asking is, how do I position myself in a way that I can maximize what I can get out of the system, right? So it's not, what are you going to give me? You need to ask, what am I going to give the system? What am I affording the system or providing the system that they want my talent? So in other words, the question you should also ask is, what is my value proposition? And how can I increase my value proposition by coming to Drexel? If the answer is 0 or negative, you don't want to come. If you think it's positive and you understand why it's positive based on everything we talked about, then you need to make sure that you position yourself. So my advice to you starting today, get out of your comfort zone and try to reach out, right? To build yourself, speak more English, write more English, think critically. All those things would help you to answer that question that you just said.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much, Noor and Sir Murugan, for arranging and helping us in giving a good exploration about the college. So thank you so much for that. So my question is, I am a HR recruiter with NVIDIA right now. So NVIDIA is something which is kind of a undisputable king in GPU manufacturing and AI, right? So I'm working as a sourcer there, as a recruiter there. So it's like 10 years of experience I have in HR recruitment. So how this MBA can help me in going forward? That's my question.
Well, it basically, so HR is your area of expertise, and MBA basically gives you better management skills, number one. When I say management skills, it's not just about managing people, but it's how do you make data-driven decisions? How do you build predictive models to understand where the market is going? How do you answer the question that somebody just asked, for example, I think you did, like what's going to be the future salary? What are the different variables that go into that, right? So for example, all the variables I said, collecting the data, analyzing the data, providing those insights, doing some applied research for your company to say, this is the trends, these are the market trends, right? And doing it across different areas in business, whether it's finance, accounting, etc. That is how it's going to help you. But again, the question is how well you do that is what matters.
So, sir,
right?
I'm more into kind of a salesperson. I would call myself as a salesperson because I have a target to give this much hires in a month, or like 40 hires in a month, in a year, or something like that. And I love doing sales. So can I go more deep into this? I'm not very good with numbers and analysis, but I'm very good with persuading people.
Okay, so an MBA, the MBA is exactly what you just said. So,
Right.
so think about it. If you're good at persuading people, then you need to tell them what the value proposition of the product is or whatever you're selling, right?
So product
How
management
you
can be an
think.
option.
Say that again?
Product management can be a good option, and project management, something like.
No, I'm not giving you specific areas. It's how you think. An MBA helps you to think, right? In terms of the products, in terms of the service, in terms of the projects. So it basically think about it as this, elevating the way you think in multi-dimensional ways. It doesn't matter whether one is flipping burgers in McDonald's. You will think about a way, how can I be more efficient? How can I serve the customer better? or it could be HR, or it could be a medical field. It doesn't matter, right? So I can't give you a specific answer other than telling you in general how it helps. The MBA elevates
Okay, I
a
got
person. Yeah.
I got you. It means it increases my rational thinking. It increases my horizon of thinking big, right? And it makes me efficient in learning more and more in less time, right?
Yes. So let me also add to this, right? So the MBA is not a specialization degree. Okay. It is a maximizing degree. It is a leveraging degree.
Okay.
You're essentially learning all the skill sets you need to be better at the job that you currently do and become a leader in the industry that you're going into. It doesn't matter what industry. Right? So for you with your sales background, an MBA is only going to expand, as you mentioned, your horizon and expand your opportunities to be a leader in your field. And now the question is, which concentration in classes are you going to take and select to help maximize and leverage that sales? Right? So you're going to select a concentration, you're going to select courses that are going to teach you to understand the people that you'll be leading and the people that you'll be recruiting. Okay, so that's what it comes down to.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
So is this a STEM degree?
So depending on the concentrations that you select, so I know you mentioned project management. Project management is not a STEM designated concentration. There's a list. If you go earlier in our presentation, you can review that. But essentially one of our other concentrations, you can look at those classes. There's a couple of, the way those classes are, they're not all fully focused on math, right? Yes, STEM designation, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We understand that, but it's how those mathematics and quantitative focuses apply in the business world. So you're not doing hardcore programming. You're not sitting in front of a computer and typing out data sets, unless that's the class that you select for yourself, right? But there are classes that are more about understanding how that mathematics and how those technology and how those engineering focus, those science focuses, those quantitative focuses apply to your chosen field. Right. So those are conversations that you'll have with your academic advisor, aka me, once you are here. So I'll be sitting with you to look at the classes, to look at the class content, to help you select the best one that's not only going to be good for your success and you'll be succeeding in them, but also going to help you succeed in landing in the career field that you are choosing. Okay. But I will also keep in mind, Dr. A was saying this, the world is moving towards involving more and more data. You have to look at data to look at trends. You were talking about meeting your sales requirements and so forth. People look at data, right? They're looking at how many sales did you achieve last month versus this month? What was the ratio of difference? What did you do differently? What is the decision that allowed you to make sure that you landed more sales this month than last month? What are the trends of the industry to ensure that our products are selling? So all of this is what you're learning in the classroom. So you have to analyze that to decide what steps are you going to take to increase those sales.
Good.
Right.
Good.
So these are going to be conversations that you'll have with me. You'll have conversations with your career coach. But in terms of the MBA, remember, it's not a specialization degree. It's a maximizing degree.
Yeah, as Professor Murugan also said that, Gen AI is the next product. AI is the next big thing, right? So
Yeah, so Noor, I suggest we take questions from other people, please, because
yeah. So we can always talk later if you want to expand more. But I am glad that you understand.
Sure, Noor, thank you so much.
Do you have any other questions or hands raised? We have about 15 minutes. Maximize your time with us.
Until then, I do have a question. My first question is around the alumni network, because we understand, especially in the universities at US, the alumni network is pretty strong. So I want to know how new candidates can venture into that, tap into that and get mentorship or maybe a roadmap of how their life will look post the degree.
So our alumni base is huge. It's really huge. We have over 80,000 LeBow alumni around the world, and we have over 180,000 or 175,000 alumni all across the globe, across Drexel, right, for Drexel. And essentially what this means is that these top tier companies, these companies that we're bringing into the classroom, actually a lot of them are our students who graduated from our degrees, landed these jobs and work with the companies and tell the companies, hey, I want to go back to Drexel. We want to take a consulting project to Drexel. I went to Drexel. Let's go here. So our connections in those classrooms are actually more often than not actual Drexel alumni who have succeeded, who have paved the way for our other students. They also come back to host events. They come back to coach our students. They come back to review resumes. They come back to host networking events and so forth. LeBow has what we call the Drexel alumni group. So you're essentially coming in, and as you're graduating, you get folded into the alumni group. You get access to the alumni network through your Drexel One portal. So once you become a dragon, that access is immediate. And you work with your professors, you work with your career coach, you work with your academic advisor to figure out what events are these alumni coming to so that you can network. And network is key. Dr. A mentioned this earlier. Network is key. And network is what gets you the jobs. It's not just your qualifications. It's not just your academic success. It's your networking as well.
For sure. My next question is about how they can, get a source of income within the university while they're studying. One is usually universities have teaching assistantship or research assistantship opportunities. So if you could elaborate on that, if there are opportunities for them to tap.
Okay. So it's Ramadan and I'm fasting, so I'm not going to lie. There are opportunities. For teaching assistantships and graduate assistantships, but those are very competitive and very limited. There's over 20,000 students at Drexel. There's over 800 graduate students at LeBow, and you need to be incredible in your classrooms for your professors to notice you, to see if they want to include you in their future courses that they're teaching or the research that they're working on. This basically means that you cannot secure a TA or a GA position until you are in the US and you completed your first term of study. Okay, because your first term of study and how you are as a student in your first term, the type of participation you're having, the type of event and networking that you're doing, if you're getting noticed by the different departments in terms of your intelligence, your activity, your networking skills, your emotional intelligence skills, those are all critical to determine whether you can land those. And those opportunities are very limited and very competitive. So not until after. We have also an alternate thing where you can search for a on-campus job. On-campus jobs are also competitive because many students are trying to get the same thing as you. They're also trying to help get some pocket money. These jobs are not going to help with tuition. They're basically just pocket money that'll help alleviate some of any financial stress that you may be having. But please keep in mind, you should be coming to America fully financially ready to pay for your apartments, pay for your tuition, pay for your degree, because on-campus jobs and GATA positions are not going to be automatic, and they will take some time. On-campus jobs as well, only after the first term of study, because you need to walk around campus to see if there's any vacated positions. Students work at our coffee centers, they work at our dining centers, they work at our recreation center, they work front desk administrative jobs. They are very simple on-campus jobs, so those are not guaranteed either. So we do have them. There are opportunities, but I would just make sure that that is not an expectation that you're going to come here with saying, I'm going to get one and that'll cover my tuition. That's not going to be realistic at all.
I don't see more questions here. We can end the session. So thank you so much, Professor Murugan and Noor, and also to our attendees, because it was a very informational and engaging session. If you have any other questions, of course, you can send a mail to me, or Noor, you could find her email ID in the presentation. So I hope this year we get a nice pipeline. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.